When I invited the Year 2s to nominate a student to speak on their behalf, there was a clear and strong message that this next student was the preferred person to speak for them. I would now like to invite to the podium Hector, who will deliver the Year 2 student address.
Dear Mayor, Rector, Deputy Rector, members of the faculty, parents, friends, and most importantly, the class of 2021. It is my greatest honor to stand before you today to share a retrospective of the past 2 years on behalf of my outstanding classmates. I recognize that I cannot speak for us all. However, I will share some reflections on my personal experiences that I believe are true about what UWC is for us all. I have just had the 2 longest months in my life. As graduation was getting closer, I was split between reflecting upon what I had experienced at RCN while looking into the imminent future. I did not feel ready to leave. It felt as if all the memories were buried and that there was still so much more to find out in our bubble, more faces and places to discover. I wanted more time in Fleke, can you imagine? It was therefore necessary to go back to where it all started, our introduction day. Fellow graduates, you may recognize what I hold in my hand right now. I know most of you were planning on opening the letter to yourself that you wrote in introduction day on your way back home while crying, but I did so yesterday because I had to use it for today. And just to be clear, I didn't write the speech yesterday, by the way. I am proudly leaving these bad habits for you first years IB students. But seriously, I opened the letter to verify whether what I had written in my speech was true. And believe it or not, I remembered every line on this letter even before I had opened it. And thinking of the beginning has enabled me to see how far I had come as an individual. My letter to myself, like for many of you, turned out to be a fortune teller. Let me share some interesting lines with you. By the end of the 2 years, I will have made an incredibly diverse friend group. I will have gotten into the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. As you can see, several of these things turn out to be true. However, there was one thing that the letter predicted, but which did not happen. It says, by the end of the 2 years, I will not have changed a single bit. I will hold the same convictions as before. But I did change. Having grown up in Haiti, a morally conservative country where many hold prejudicial views, I could not have predicted that change. I even tried to resist it. However, changing has by far been my biggest achievement here. And my UWC experience would not have been so meaningful had I held on to my determination not to change. It would not be for any of us had we remained the same closed-minded, innocent, and ignorant kids eager to jump in that bus at the Bergen airport. And for that, I want to pay tribute to diversity. The beliefs that I thought were so grounded in my identity were challenged from the day I set foot in Norway House 102. One evening, as I got back from school, I found my roommate sitting at the center table. Jens, my co-year, had called for a room meeting. He said, "Hector, I do not wish to live in the same room as someone who does not accept me for who I am." He declared this because he thought I hated him for his sexual orientation. He certainly came to this decision because of the outdated perspectives I had developed towards bisexuality growing up in an environment like Haiti. Yen's accusation shocked me. As a kid, I experienced all kinds of discriminations because of my social class and dreamed about advocating for martyrs like myself. Thus, it really grieved me to see that I could show discriminatory behaviors myself, behaviors that I've tried to fight against all my life. I hated the feeling of being seen as the hate bearer. It hurt, but ended up being a catalyst of growth. Today, I am grateful that Yen stood up and denounced my behavior. These moments serve as a springboard to take my convictions to the right places. I opened up, I listened, and sought to be educated on what I ignored. Jens and I later became brothers. We founded the Hector Foundation together and embarked on a lifelong friendship. And the meaningfulness of my UWC experience is rooted to these changes that I made in myself. And for that, I pay tribute to diversity. This story is certainly not unique to me. If my views regarding gender identity and sexual orientation have been challenged and reoriented during my time here, our views about race, culture, and religion have been challenged. We have developed a greater awareness of the people around us. It may have been difficult to accept our inability to see things from a different perspective as a consequence of our backgrounds. However, these instances where we have been confronted enable us to grow not only on an individual, but on a collective level. Our willingness to welcome and promote diversity went beyond the everlasting, "Hey, where are you from?" back in August 2019. It reached the guys, "Let's march in solidarity to the Black Lives Matter movement." We reached that point where we would stand for each other's identities. And for this graduating class, our UWC experience has made us become more sensitive towards differences in cultures, race, and religions. And as I did with my friend Jens, you and I must continue to battle ourselves on a daily basis to use these differences to reach compromises and stimulate growth. Today, I am proud to say that we have grown as socially conscious individuals, better able than we were before to engage with and love the people we are meant to encounter in the future. And for that, I pay tribute to diversity. I would also like to pay tribute to diversity for other reasons. It goes without saying that over the past 2 years, I have crossed paths with some of the world's brightest and most engaged individuals. Being among such a huge cohort of brilliant people flooded with bright ideas is not an easy task to undertake. You do not wish to know the internal mixture of jealousy and admiration that crossed over me whenever I found myself in my math class with Reen and Artem. When I look at Alejandro, I very much wish I could impact the world the way he does through the UN organs. Fai, Iano, if I never get the chance to go to a 5-star restaurant, I am convinced that your cooking skills have given me an accurate glimpse of what it must feel like. My co-years are so brilliantly different, and as I live and work with them, I felt inspired to cherish my own ideas and value my ability to be a change maker myself, even at a micro level. And as my dear friend Jill said, I started to live not only for myself, but for the people that I represent. Because my ideas and actions could very much craft the world's opinion of my people, I felt called to portray them in the best possible light. And this resulted in an increase in my own self-worth. And I have seen many of you collaborating on projects such as the Gas Ball, the Dance Show, the Asian Show, or the Leaf Auction. Each of these dissimilar perspectives laid on the table set the ground for these to be some of the greatest events organized in the history of RCN. And for that, we pay tribute to diversity. Graduates, it is high time that we stop looking for a moment at how far we have to go to cherish and value how far we've come. We have been vulnerable. We have learned and we have grown in nearly all aspects of our lives. We have overcome the culture shocks and differences that many of us feared. We have fought together through one of the most devastating crises known to mankind, the COVID pandemic. Our lives have not only been fairy tales, they have been troubled by challenges and tears all throughout. But yet, we still ended up being the most successful year group in the history of RCN. With over $50 million in scholarship and grants, we have had students representing us proudly on the highest ladders of international competitions, such as Go Make a Difference, the American Math Contest, or the Croatian Debate Contest. And finally, we hold the record of the highest number of students of an RCN class to have jumped in the fjord on the last day of exam. And now, you may hesitate and ask yourself why. Why does the world need you so much? Why should you see yourself as some of the best that your respective country has to offer? Well, it is because the qualities of global citizens we have acquired, from the countless trivial room meetings to the serious year group gatherings, did nothing other than prepare us to tackle the major conflicts such as racial discrimination, gender and economic inequality that we are called to address. There is so much on the line, and what we will do as individuals will matter. 2 years ago, none of us could have stood up and expressed the trust in our potential to impact people's lives as I am doing now. And today, I am sure we all can. Fellow graduates, let us go out there representing ourselves, our people, and the values of UWC that radiate within us. Best of luck and congratulations, class of 2021.